we're so happy to have you here. I was just talking right now with Andrea, and Andrea was in awe as much as I was that you accepted to be here. And we're super, super excited. Our goal today, oh, give me a second to mute people. Our goal today is to make sure that we convince as many people as possible. This is going to be recorded, it's going to be delivered. I want to convince as many possible people that learning what to say, it's basically your business. It's what's going to make and break your business. And there's a lot of resistance from agents. I know as a coach, I know it from the industry. When you mention the fact that you are considering creating a script or understanding conversation, everybody's afraid that it will sound in a certain way or another. And they're very resistant on learning what to say. And I don't think there's anybody better than you to convince them today that they should be investing their time and energy in learning what to say. So that will be my first question. What would you say to someone that's resistant on learning scripts, and how important it is to learn what to say?
Well, let's play with this for a second on the script side of things. I can see many of your faces here. Quick show of hands. Who in this room has ever watched a movie that made them cry? Like, I hate to break it to you, it was just an actor reading a script. It wasn't, though, was it? It was an actor performing a script. It was an actor deciding to step into a character. So the question to ask of yourself is, which character are you playing? And more often than not, that's just yourself or a version of yourself. And I think sometimes it's worthy of being okay to realize that we're not one self. We're actually multiple selves. And choosing which version of self you're looking to be able to reach for in that given moment is useful. And if you don't have a version of self that is currently competent and confident when showing up into the conversations that matter, you might have to build that version of self. That might have to be an area of new authenticity that you grow. Staying in this movie piece too, which I think is worthy of thinking about, is some of the best movie moments happened when the actor decided to go off script. They didn't wing it. They didn't make it up. They weren't messing about. They made a conscious decision to go off script because based on their experience, their ingenuity, their understanding of the moment they were being asked to create, they decided to try something different because they thought it would work better for the intended outcome. How can you choose to go off script? Well, to go off script, there has to be a script that you're choosing to be able to pick a better option there. Here's another interesting fact to give consideration to. A human being cannot write, perform, and edit at the same time. I repeat, they cannot write, perform, and edit at the same time. Those three functions are impossible to do at the exact same time, and I'll prove it to you. Have you ever been sat in an audience in a presentation where you've been asked to read, watch, and listen at the same time? You're trying to read the slide, whilst watch what the speaker is doing with their physicality, whilst listen to what the speaker is saying. What happens? You check out. Because the brain cannot function those three things at the exact same time. Yet you, as professionals in your environment, find yourself looking to write, perform, and edit at the same time. You're writing the thing you're going to say whilst you're saying it, whilst you're thinking about the thing you just said, and wondering why you lack presence. Wondering why you feel anxiety. Wondering why you cannot read the moment, why you come away from that moment thinking shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's because you weren't present in the moment. So actually what happens when you do the work before the work to get ready with a pantry of ingredients of known language, known skills, you can show up to moments and be free. A great chef can produce almost any dish. Why? Because they have skills. Not because they learned one recipe. It's because they learned a quantity of different recipes that says, those are the ingredients. This is the moment I'm being asked to prepare food for. I've got this. That's what pros do when it comes to language. They start thinking about saying, I know all the known moments I might find myself in. I'm going to build a quantity of quality sequences of words that can serve me in those moments. Then when I'm in that moment, I can stand in that moment fully without being to care or consequence in any other moment. And I can be ready to steer the conversation. If you're wondering if this is still important and if I'm still laboring the point too much, why do orchestras need conductors? Same series of notes. But if somebody wasn't there to be able to organize those notes and organize the players, that would be a car crash. Nobody would want to listen. So the skill in complex conversations is being ready to lead them, not to manipulate, but to lead them to help people make smarter decisions. So slightly long answer to a short question, but I hope there's some thought there, Andrew, as to why this is worth it.
I think it's a lot that you mentioned there, and I hope everybody can take that in. Just so you know, guys, if you have questions, because you have him here, just drop them in the chat and Andrea will go over with that. I think my next question to you is in regards to how someone that hasn't necessarily been through this process of learning what to say can change their conversation from telling to asking questions, which is one of the things that you quite, emphasize in all of your books, and how to change that kind of routine that people kind of go into talking about themselves and about their services in real estate to learning how to ask questions.
The first part of that process is to take a beat on yourself stepping into complex conversations and know that you do not have to achieve a predetermined outcome. You have to achieve the outcome that's right for the person that you're there to help. So showing up to a conversation neutral is actually a safer place to step into. I'll ask a very simple question of you right now, like, is now a good time to buy a house, yes or no?
Depends.
And is now a good time to sell a house, yes or no?
Also depends on your circumstances.
Are you the perfect agent to help the person that is looking for help?
Not all of I can't help all of my clients.
Can't help everybody all of the time. So the answer to all of these questions is it depends. Your job is to get yourself into conversations to find out what it depends on. And if it depends on the right things, then help them realize that you are the right fit for this. So showing up to conversations far more neutral. Who in this room is a parent or has been a kid? Should be somewhere like most of you. Is what often happens in a parenting environment when something isn't going the way you'd like it to is you jump straight to tell mode. You become the advice monster. You become the person that has the answers to be able to lead somebody to change through delivering command orders. Don't do this, that's wrong, this is right, now, not later. We deliver command orders on repeat and they create friction and resistance. The same is true when you step into adulthood. We lean into what I think you should do is. We lean into the best practices. We lean into here's what the market is telling us. These are command orders. The safest place to play in complex conversations is in the messy gray part. It's in the, I don't know the answer, but I do know that I'm prepared to get in the mess with you. And that with me in the mess with you, you're more likely to figure out the answer than you would in any other way. See how that changes your approach going into a conversation? I'm going to find out if now is the right time to sell. I'm going to find out what would be needed to be done to your home before it gets market ready. I'm going to find out whether the price the market could afford and what your expectations are about what you want to do next are actually attainable. I'm going to find out if the service and value proposition that we provide is the right fit for you or whether you might be better to go in another direction. If you're stepping into conversations neutral, with the knowledge that your job is to help them find the right answer, when they realize the right answer is now and you, they're all bought in. When you show up with the my dad is better than your dad argument, then what happens is friction, pushback. Put more simply, if you show up to a conversation with your solution being the answer, they'll say that's not my problem. If you show up to a conversation and do the work to better understand their problem, they'll trust you with a solution. So the gig is to be strategically curious. And here's my challenge to everybody on the call right now. Could you live an entire day of your life, a whole day, 24 whole hours, delivering approximately zero advice? None. No telling, no advising, no guiding. Simply by asking questions. Helping people reach their own conclusions on outcomes. And what you're going to be working is the muscle of asking more strategic questions, because it's not about asking more questions, it's about asking better questions. When your spouse or partner or friend says, hey, what do you want for dinner tonight? Then the only thing you can respond with is questions. When a friend says, what do you want to do the weekend? You can only respond with questions. But you'll realize that terrible questions are like, I don't know, what do you want to do? If somebody says, what do you want for dinner tonight? If you responded with a question is, well, what did you eat for lunch? You see how much closer you're getting to being able to steer where the next move might go? And they say, yeah, I had a fairly big lunch. I was out with some clients. Okay. So do you want something heavier or lighter for dinner? I don't know, probably lighter. Got it. Okay. So you fancy going out? Should we order something in? Or should I go see what's in the fridge? Well, there's nothing in the fridge. So what do you want to do? Do you want to get changed to go out, or are you staying in the sweatpants? No, I'm staying in the sweatpants. Okay, I'm thinking of Chinese food. Have you got any resistance to Chinese food? No, none whatsoever. Great, leave it with me. I got this. And we just solved the most difficult question to answer, which is, what would you like for dinner tonight? The hardest question in the world to answer with multiple questions. You could do the same. So if you want to practice getting better at questions, live a day of your life delivering approximately zero advice, only talking in questions. Does that make sense?
100%. 100%. I'm going to go straight in another question because I want to ask you as many as possible. You talk in your books a lot about the first 15 seconds of a conversation, and especially a conversation with someone that, let's say it's a referral or a cold lead, someone that you don't know, they do have some degree of motivation of doing something. If you can talk a little bit about that importance of the 15 seconds.
In our work at Exactly What to Say and what we teach in our certification programs is 4 cornerstones of conversational excellence. The first of those cornerstones is to remember that the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say is in the moment when you're saying it. Many of us destroy or sabotage the success of a potential outcome in a conversation in the first moments of the moment. The initial greeting, the initial question that you ask, the initial words that leave your mouth. I mean, as somebody who travels as much as I do, I'm often away from home and then I'm back home. I'm away from home, I'm back home. If I don't get the words somewhere near right, what comes out of my mouth when I re-enter the home following a trip, what are my chances of having a decent evening? Good weekend, good marriage, good life. Like, I could destroy my life on messing up that moment. So my guess is that you all have moments in time that you stutter or stammer into that you could show up more prepared. Let's look at a simple moment in real estate that I believe that almost every agent messes up. And this is an inquiry comes in from a stranger that says, I'm somewhat interested in 123 Main Street. They've responded to a Facebook ad. They've come through as a Zillow lead. They've been on something on your website. They've been past a property with a sign outside of it. And it's a contact to you that says, I'm somewhat interested in 123 Main Street. And all that happens for most agents is a little excited, little giddy voice, and you rush to try and arrange a showing. Think for a second, like a professional would do. How likely is that person to buy that house? Not very, right? And we show up and throw up all the things about the house and try and rush them to a showing and an appointment on a house that both of us know they're not going to buy. Are you looking to sell the property or help the person? Should be help the person. So take a moment as simple as that. They are showing some interest in 123 Main Street. You say, great, I can see that you're looking at some further information about 123 Main Street. Is that the only home you're interested in? And they say, no. You say, where are you living right now? And they're like, I know this one. You say, how long have you lived there? They say, I know this one. You say, what is it that's prompting you to think about making a move? And they know this one. You say before you make a move, would you need to sell the house that you're currently in, or are you free to be able to move without needing to sell your existing home? They say, no, we'd need to sell this one first. You say, well, when was the last time you had that home professionally appraised so that you knew what your buying power was in this market? They say, I haven't. You say, have you made any improvements since you moved in? They say, yeah, we've done a ton. You say, well, would it help if you knew what your buying power was in this market? They say, yeah, that would be great. You say, when would be a good time this week for us to be able to drop round and maybe run some comps and also see the work that you've done so we can provide you an accurate assumption of what your house might get in a market like right now. I say, that'd be awesome. You say, who's your lender? They say, I haven't got one. You say, ahead of the appointment, would it help if I could connect you with an experienced local lender that could help you understand your buying power at this period of time too, in addition to what might come out of the house? They'd be like, that would be incredible. You see how different that conversation is to, they say, I'm interested in 123 Main Street, and you say, when would you like to see it?
Great script. We got it.
Right? Slow things down. Help people make smarter decisions. Help the person, don't try to sell the property. I find it fascinating. Like, my wife and I buy a ton of real estate across the US in different ways for different purposes, and we've moved God knows how many times. And my experience with multiple agents has been, at best, all right. Nobody's been mean, just nobody's been that helpful. Because the only thing they've been able to help me about is the particular piece of real estate I'm inquiring about, which started the conversation. But that piece of real estate was inevitably wrong. And they weren't helpful towards anything that we were really looking to be able to do next. They never took the time to get to understand the problem my wife and I were actually trying to solve. So we did all that work by ourselves, digging around on Zillow and trying to do drive-bys of potential areas and putting our own sweat equity in. There's a time right now to be able to show the marketplace as to how much more valuable you can be. But it's in helping the person, not selling the property. It's getting to know the individual and the puzzles they're trying to overcome. And usually utilizing your experience, your questioning, your expertise in your network to help them do what they're trying to do more easily with less effort and less friction. That's the job.
We'll take all of that, and it was a great script, and we're going to take that script and deliver it to everyone as a script.
And understand it's not a script, actually. That's what's called a question tree.
Correct, yes.
It's a sequence of questions. And once you get to a level of skill on this, you should be able to build question trees just like a musician can create music from the same notes. For anybody on this call that is gifted in music in some way, you have the same handful of notes as every other musician on the planet, but what you can do with it is infinite. The trouble with the script is I could give you that exact same sequence of questions in an alternative environment, and you're going to hit a roadblock and not know where to go. What you're really looking to be able to do is, if the gift is to get to pro level, is to learn to play chess when you're in conversational moments. Learn that it isn't a checkers move, a checkers move, a checkers move, a checkers move. Is sometimes you've got to step sideways. Sometimes you've got to step backwards. Sometimes you've got to move 3 paces. Sometimes you've got to go diagonally. And that only comes with experience. One of the greatest things about the real estate profession is there is next to no barrier to entry. There is unlimited earning potential. And there is a plethora of noise around training. One of the worst things about real estate is there's next to no barrier to entry. There is unlimited earning potential. And there is a plethora of different trainings you can plug into. So it's very easy to get confused. But in any other arena, becoming a professional architect takes years at school, years at practice before you get to be able to practice. Same in the legal profession, years at school, years of first-hand experience before you get to the point that you're then allowed to practice. Succeeding in your real estate business is getting good at practicing the critical conversations that help people make some of the biggest, most meaningful, emotive decisions in their life. It isn't about your knowledge of the market, your brilliance on TikTok Reels, showcasing how to win attention from other realtors on your social media content. It's helping real people make big decisions.
And that actually got me to my other question, which is related to something that you teach in your books, to learn a framework more than the exact words, a framework that you can apply, like you said, you can apply in different environments, but also what you just mentioned, that it doesn't always go in a certain sequence, a predetermined sequence in a conversation. It can go back and forth. It can go, to the fifth questions, to the sixth question, and back one to the first question, and so on, depending on the client's circumstance, and how to learn, and how to, like you mentioned, how to start to have that, practice that, and how to have that skill of understanding the art of asking questions and quizzit and curiosity that will be obviously determined of how the conversations go. So that's something that would have been my next question to you, of how to.
If you're looking to craft questions more skillfully, and you're looking at the order or the sequencing of questions, really everything needs to just follow three critical ingredients. The first is curiosity. Behind curiosity is empathy. Behind empathy is courage. That's the sequence of questions. The reason that you start with curious questions is because curious questions earn you something magical. What they earn you is they earn you the other person's context. In every conversation, you'd like to insert your content. Here's why we're brilliant. Here's why we're awesome. Here's why this is the right time. Here's what I think you should do. We're always looking to put content into a conversation. If you insert your content before you've earned the other person's context, then what you did is create friction. Stay curious to understand the other person's context, because context is relevant before any advice is in place. This is the same reason that many of your social media content pieces don't hit, because you didn't do the work to do the contextual setup first. So if you're creating content online right now, take 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 15 seconds to do a contextual setup. I know right now many people are questioning whether now is the right time to buy or sell. Oh, contextual setup. You, like many other homeowners in the neighborhood, are probably questioning the impact of current boom, boom, boom on boom, boom, boom. Right? Contextual setup. Many agents right now are scared about the impact of blank on blank. Contextual setup. If you don't do a contextual setup, you're in trouble. So you either earn the context through curious questions, or you give the context when you're pushing content. When you've been curious for long enough, it dances you towards this position of empathy. And empathy is like a buzzword. Too few people understand what it really means. Many people confuse it with sympathy. It's not. Best definition I ever heard for empathy comes from a speaker friend of mine by the name of John Acuff. And John Acuff defines empathy as to care about what the people you care about care about. I can't do better than that. Nobody wants to buy a house. They want to buy a house because. Nobody wants to sell a house. They want to sell a house because. If you want to communicate with more effectiveness, is stop talking about the house, start talking about the because. The transaction is just a stepping stone to get them through to whatever it is they want to be living on next. This is about going through a transformational change in their life. That's what true empathy is. I'll share with you another thing that most agents do that is costing them a fortune, that demonstrates a lack of empathy, is the overuse of the least influential word on the planet. The least influential word on the planet is the word I. I was just checking in. I was looking. I was hoping. I wanted. I believe. I think. If you look at your sent messages, your sent emails, you look at all of your smart plans and your web copy and your listing presentations, you'll see the overworked use of the word I. And if you're thinking, no, we got this, it's where you've swapped your I's for we's. The overuse of the word we is the second most least influential word on the planet. It means you literally we all over other people. Like, we were founded in, who cares? What we offer is good for you. The service we provide is, well, I'm really pleased for you. If you swap your I's and we's for you's, you become insanely more influential. What you benefit from in working with an experienced professional real estate agent is, when listing your house, you're going to experience boom, boom, boom. Your home is going to be presented in the best possible way so other people right? Swap all your I's and we's for you's and watch how much more empathetic you become. Because the goal is to become relatable. And your empathetic questions should demonstrate to the other person that you're relatable. You should hit the show me that you know me button. Questions like, how important is it to you that you get moved before the end of the summer? What is your experience or understanding of what waiting could do? What do you understand are the potential consequences that you might realize if interest rates were to drop? How certain are you that you're going to continue to stay in the job that you're in right now for the foreseeable future? How certain are you going to be living in this neighborhood for the next 5, 10, 15 years? You see how these questions are building you a body of empathetic evidence? What selling is earning the right to make a recommendation. And that means that we should be able to make big, bold, courageous recommendations. But if you start making recommendations too early, you're pushy, you're obnoxious. In the medical industry, they say prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Let me repeat, prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Yet how many times do you walk into a situation prescribing before you've diagnosed? Could you imagine walking into a doctor's surgery and said the pharma rep was here just yesterday, told me about these great new pills, you should pop 2 of these a day, you'd feel awesome. You'd be like, what the heck? 2 of you here be like, whatever. But if the doctor sits you down by alternative, understands your symptoms, maybe runs a test or 2, and then professionally recommends to you that these are the pills you should take, what do you now do? As you're told. Because they took the time to slow things down and then made a big courageous ask. A courageous ask can drive to action. It can create change. But if you're running around asking for the things that you want in life in the wrong order, you're self-serving. Even thinking about asking for a review, a recommendation, or a referral. Let's be curious enough to understand the context of their experience of doing business with, be empathetic to create a level of relatability and the importance of the outcome you're looking to achieve, and then courageously make the big ask. Everything changes. Think about a behavioral change that you're looking to create with a loved one in your life. Be curious enough to understand their context before you jump into advice monster mode. Be empathetic to be relatable, to get on the same side. So it's you and them versus it. You know the challenge you're looking on. You're not looking to be able to tell your daughter that she shouldn't be doing blank. You're looking to help your daughter grow up to be a fine young woman who can control herself in environments, regardless of the heated nature of the scenario. You're looking to help them develop the skills to do blank, not tell them to stop doing something. That's empathy. Then you can have the courage to invite people to change. Doesn't matter on the scenario, that model will help you. The mistake I make with that model on purpose is that is an equilateral triangle. It gives the impression that you could spend a third of your time being curious and a third of your time being empathetic and a third of your time being courageous. It's not how it works in the real world. Quite often, in the complexity of should I sell with you, should I sell now, there is a chunk of time being curious. Might be like a long, slow gradient of the triangle. That brings you to an empathetic position that you can just drop down super quickly. And then there's a courageous journey back, being able to build the action plan of what needs to happen from here. And I know this sounds like hard work. That, my friends, is a good thing. Because if it was easy, any fool could do it. And if any fool could do it, well, we could get a computer to do it. And if a computer could do it, you're all irrelevant. You don't get paid the big bucks. So if you want to earn the money that you've been used to earning and you want to earn more and earn more than your fair share, relish in how hard this is. Because you get paid well for helping other people do hard things. That's what you get rewarded at. If this was easier, you wouldn't be worth it. If you wouldn't be worth it, you'd be paid less. Enjoy the struggle. Slightly long answer there, but when you're thinking about building your question trees, curious questions to earn you the context, empathetic questions to prove you're relatable, courageous questions to invite them to take action. It's that easy and it's that hard.
Love it. Let's go to the next level. Now that we know we need to be curious and ask questions, can you talk a little bit about the difference between closed and open questions, which are so important in the process of guidance with the client.
I mean, closed and open questions is a rudimentary skill that I think any human being or adult in any form of leadership in life should understand the difference between the two. A closed question leads towards a decision, an open question opens up a discussion. The simplest of examples of this would be the utilization of the words from the book, The Words Open-Minded. See, if I asked a how open-minded question, that's an open question. If I ask a would you be open-minded question, that's a closed question. When would you use one over the other? Well, would you be open-minded to increasing your down payment? Yes or no? How open-minded would you be to trying to find a little extra as a down payment? Well, I guess I could be. How much more are you talking about? What timeline would I have on this? Discussion. Same sequence of words, different positioning, different application. Sometimes you can create the difference between an open and closed question just by tone. Hey, honey, why did you do that? Why did you do that? So you can change open to closed in tonality. But you should be thinking, do you want decision or discussion, decision or discussion, decision or discussion? Sometimes to get from order to new order, you have to work through chaos. That's why you have to create a discussion. Sometimes you're in chaos and you want to get to new order. That's why you need decision. Can you recognize those moments in both your own life and other people's lives? If they're in chaos, you help them get to order. Do you definitely want to move to Florida? Yes. Are you sure you definitely want to go through with a move? Well, we like it here and we thought we wanted to move and travel south and enjoy the weather and la 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 la, but now like with the friends and the work and the okay. See the difference? And you shouldn't look at this like it's easy. This isn't learning scripts, because if it was, the hardest part of learning scripts is teaching the other person their lines. And through my experiences, you can get as well rehearsed on your lines as possible. If the other person doesn't know theirs, it's a shit show. You should learn to make music. Learn to conduct orchestras. Learn to lead the dance. Learn to create a magical dish out of nothing in a moment that you're presented with terrible ingredients. And enjoy the struggle. When we run our certification events, people come to us and they say, Phil, I want to master the language. And I'm like, in 2.5 days? It's taken me 25 years to get to this point and I'm still working on it. And you think you can get there in 2.5 days? Good for you. That's not what we're looking to do here. Is just like yoga and meditation, you don't get to master it. You just add intentionality and then you can add intentionality to your practice. Same is true with conversation if you care about this. If this is an art form and a skill set, you don't try to get better at conversation. You find the moments within conversation you're looking to level your game at. Same as a pro golfer isn't trying to try harder at golf today. They're hyper aware of the micro moment inside their game that requires some intention and some attention. And they're putting thoughtful thought into working that muscle and solving that puzzle. And they're doing this forever. That's the game that we're in if we're committed to change.
And that brings me to how important it is. I have in my hands here exactly what to say role play.
These are money.
I'm a fanatic about role playing, and I have a hard time convincing people that that should be their daily activity in the morning. And the ones that they do, they see a huge difference in their conversion as they're, getting better at what to say. And I want to talk about this because I'm passionate about this project that you put together. It's a fun way of doing it, but also brings role play in the scene of real estate where everybody's concerned about so many different shiny objects of what they should be doing in real estate and how important it is to role play.
Talk to me about the question. What's the question you're asking me here?
The question is how important it is to role play and how important it is to do it consistently and not just from time to time.
Well, what's important is to practice. You're all practicing one way or another, but if your only practice is on game day, you make your biggest mistakes in front of a live audience. And often the consequences aren't somebody providing you some feedback of what could be done differently. The consequences are you just came second, third, or lost completely. There's never a client or a prospect that says, hey, if you just twisted those words around slightly differently, I'd have probably made an offer. Hey, if you just asked me 3 more questions, I might have seen that you were the right choice for this listing and not going with the agent that we bought the house from. They don't deliver you that kind of feedback. Your feedback just shows up in your bank account. So the reason that role play is, to me, essential is it's structured practice with only upside. There's no downside. Because when you lose, there's no actual loss. And when you win, you learn. You can carry those skills into live matches. If you look at professionals in the world of sport, right, they're playing for this length of time, but they're practicing for this length of time so that they're ready to perform in this moment. The trouble with role play is people turn it into things like script practice. It sounds like it sucks. This is like the worst experience of my life. The other thing that happens, and this is something that I'm on a mission to stop, is somebody steps themselves into a role play scenario. Somebody does their very best at the role play scenario, and then somebody else berates them for their underperformance and basically tells them how much they sucked. And then they're like, do you want to go again? I'm like, no, I don't. I'm going to go start driving Uber because people don't talk to me like that there. People are nice to me and I get tips. So what we did with the role play card game is the emphasis is on the word play. We deliberately didn't write rules. There is not a right way or a wrong way of being able to work with the cards. The emphasis is on the playtime. Also, there's no scripts to learn. What there are scenarios. You could be like talking to a seller lead. You could be at an open house. You could be circle prospecting. You could be servicing clients. And then we took every reason why somebody wouldn't do business with you. These aren't objections. These are just points of friction, like already working with an agent. Bring me a buyer and we can talk. We don't want a lockbox in the property. The other agent is going to charge a flat fee. I created 48 different versions of friction that exist in real estate, the stuff that you deal with day in, day out. And what we can do is we can just deal a card and say, right, where are you? Well, you're talking to a past client. Your past client is concerned about what? Well, I don't want to commit to just working with you. I want, maybe some other people that are providing exposure on the property too. What you can then look at is reach into all the magic words and say, well, how might any of them help you when you're in that scenario? See the differences? If it's moment first, you can practice. If it's learning scripts without moments, it's like decorating a Christmas tree without a Christmas tree. It's a pointless exercise. So the role play cards are just a versatile tool to help you really run jam sessions rather than script practices. Just mess around. You even do it by yourself with your 10 minutes between an appointment. Like, okay, I get asked the how's the market question. Where am I being asked the how's the market question? Well, I'm speaking to an expired listing that I managed to be able to find some time to get on the phone. And they're asking, well, how is the market really? Well, how might you use the words? Well, the way I see it is you have 3 options when talking to an expired listing that's asking you how's the market. And if you had a whole room full of agents, I'd say, well, all write an example. I'd be like, that's good. Can you make it better? Yeah, that's good. Can you make it better? That's good. Well, why is that good? You see how what we're doing is it's like going to the gym. It's working the muscles before you need them for exercise. So that's why I'm in love with the role play cards. They're a lot of fun. And what it does is it brings some of the education from our certification experience into a $59 product, which brings access to a lot more agents than a $5,500 training course.
Highly, highly recommended. I want to be mindful of your time, obviously, because we have 3 minutes left. I don't want to keep you longer, but there's one thing, because I've seen you in trainings before, and I was blown away of some of the conversations that you put together. Like there was literally a conversation that you conducted, and it was mind-blowing. I recorded it, I practiced it after, and I had success by using what you just said. And I'm going to share it also with a friend of mine because I mentioned to her, and it was brilliant. So I'm going to try as fast as possible in 2 minutes. There's a question that it's on the mind of so many agents, how to deal with when a prospect is bringing that up, and would you cut your commission? And I would like to practice that with you. I'm going to be the seller. I'm going to say, would you cut your commission? And I would love to have that conversation with you.
Okay.
We're ready to sign with you if you cut your commission.
Okay. And how much are you looking for me to cut?
I think 1% we would be happy.
Okay. And how did you conclude upon that?
There's the agent that we interviewed yesterday, he said he would.
Okay. And is there any part of our service you'd like me to cut as well?
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Well, if you're asking us to work for less, is there something that you don't want us to do for you?
No, I would like you to do what we discussed, but the other agent said that they will cut the commission. And I was wondering if you would consider cutting your commission.
Okay. So if we can do this at 5%, then you'd be happy to sell with us?
Correct.
Okay, cool. And what is it about us that makes you think that we're a better choice if all things were equal?
Well, I like what you had to say, and you've been very professional. Like you really presented the price really well, and we understand why you suggested that price. So
okay. And what else? And what else do you like about us?
No, I think you know what you're doing.
Okay. And do you think that will result in you getting more money in your pocket at the end of the transaction?
More money than the
Do you
other?
think that will result in a better outcome for you through the entire experience than working with anybody else?
Yeah, we would be happy with you. We just try to save as much money as possible.
I got you. We're on the same page. And what often can happen is if you work with a discount agent, then you're going to get discount offers and potentially discount service. If you're looking to get premium prices for your home and want somebody that can negotiate with grace and help protect the highest margin for you and your family, then you might be looking for a more premium level of service. So you're looking for a high caliber premium agent or to work with a discount agent?
Obviously, we would like to work with good service.
Okay. And it sounds to me that you're just looking to try and get a little bit of a deal. Does that sound right?
Yes, we obviously we try to save some money here. We the move, it's expensive, and we try to see what we can save.
Well, I tell you what we can do for you, because this isn't about saving money. This is about making money. It's what we can do is, given your home is at 1.2 million, is we do have some premium services that we typically only provide for homes that are at 2 million and up with regards to blank and blank and blank and blank. And given that you've pushed me all this way and that we both want to work on this project together, I tell you what I can do for you is we're going to give you access to this and this and this and this and this. And we're going to stay true to our fee in the same way that we're going to stay true to helping you achieve yours too. And I'm going to take care of all those other things for you at our expense. Does that sound fair?
Yes, it does. Yes.
Do something like that.
Okay. I signed a contract. We have a quick question and we let you go. They're asking, what is your course details? But there's something that they can find online. What's the duration of the course? And some people.
I'm running 2.5 day program in New York City, 16 people. We also run a very special real estate program, June 10 through 12. That's going to be 40 people max in New York. Very immersive. Go through our certification experience. It's the only way you can access the workbook. It's the only way that you can learn to use the words in order and take it through all areas of life. Shoot me a note on Instagram. You could do the same for the cards. Is DM me the word role play. You'll get a link back with a link to order the cards. And also, if you just want to ask questions about the certification experience there, we can share those with you. You can find them online, but they're deliberately hidden. And when I run small immersive group programs, try to control the caliber of the people coming in. So it isn't something you can actively find easily online. They're there. We don't hide them, like hide them, but we deliberately don't make them front and center, so that often a conversation happens prior to somebody choosing to come on a program of that nature.
Amazing. Thank you so much Phil for being here. Really
My pleasure.
appreciate your time. Go and follow him. You're the best at this, and very, very responsive online. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me. See you guys again.
Thank you.